Good morning. This tap into the tea should be called Rabbit Heart as the day. Sending blessings to all those around the world. Resolving any boundaries there may be. Resolving any conflicts that may be in mind and heart and restricted, held back into the body. Let's release these emotions. So we sage our space. All our decks. Ourselves. Clear our auras. Any unclean energy. Let's reset back to the bare minimum, which is universal maximum. High Spirit of the ages, guide us in this reading. Let's begin with divination from the coins. We have 7, 8, 8, 7, 7, and 7, which I believe gives us mountain over sky. And it looks like I'm correct. It's 26. Today comes as no surprise as the great buildup. Great buildup benefits the upright and true. Not eating at home is lucky. It is worthwhile crossing great rivers. In great buildup there is firm strength and earnest genuineness, which with shining light daily renewed. Its virtues place strength on top, with esteem for the wise. To be powerful yet controlled is great rectitude. Not eating at home is luck in the sense of nurturing the wise. It is worthwhile to cross great rivers in response to nature. The sky in the mountains symbolizes great buildups. Thus do cultured people record many words and deeds of the past to build up their virtue. And let's see, 26. Let's see what their combinations number 8 is. Which 8 is my numerological numerological number. It's a chord. A chord is auspicious. If the basis of the augury is always right, there is no error. The unsettled will then come. Stragglers will be unlikely. A chord is auspicious, for a chord means helping, humbly following along in harmony. If the basis of the augury is always right, there is no error. This refers to firm strength and center balance. The uneasy will then come, for there is response between those above and those below. Stragglers will be unlikely, for they will come to an impasse. Upon the earth is water, symbolizing a chord. Thus did ancient kings set up a multitude of states and associate with their leaders. Very blessed of a day we have here. Okay, let's begin with karma cards and give us a sign, a house, and a planet to focus our accord and our great buildup upon in this day of the multitude. The rabbit, like the penny, many out of one and one out of many. How could so many different kinds of people come from one soul? And how could all of those souls be that one rabbit, and yet nothing of the likeness? And vice versa. How could one rabbit be the progenitor and inheritor of all rabbits, and yet come as the final rabbit? This is a great paradox in universal thought of so-called the missing link, the first and the last. How could we all be connected and all be separate, all upon the same journey, but each on a journey of their own, in a collective, but flying like geese in a constellation, holding a pattern with somewhere in particular that the collective is going, but each can see the others in the pattern and formation, and yet all are blind while heading on their own individual course. So give us some insight into that today, Spirit of the Ages. I knew it. Somehow I saw, as soon as I was talking about planets and such, I saw Saturn. I don't know why. It just popped up, just out of the blue. I have no necessarily affinity with any particular planet, though Saturn weighs heavily upon my zodiac sign and all things surrounding me. I don't necessarily choose Saturn for any particular reason. But it just came up immediately in my mind when I mentioned planet, and here we are with Saturn in the 10th house in Scorpio. Very interesting. So we're guided today to look at these aspects of Saturn and Scorpio, which are a very opposing sort of and equal forces. Just as Saturn has to do with form and shape and constraints, at the same time, Scorpio is very much like in the letter Q, that strike that breaks through the egg, like the sperm that creates the Ganymede that starts a new life. And so the separateness and together is a great thing for us to focus on today. Both the piercing and the veil itself, as the veil is intricate pattern work, and that which can break it is of that pattern in and of itself. While the ruler of Scorpio once Pluto was discovered, then it became Pluto, due to Pluto's nature of mostly being the ninth planet, and then every once in a while dipping in, like the letter Q, and then becoming the eighth planet. So, the Spirit of Ages speaks to us of maintaining our maturity and continuing in our maturity and development, which um, makes one both the mother and the infant at once. To focus on our destiny, purification, and resurrection, to keep everything moving forward with the entire pyramid, with or without the blueprints, such as the Pharaoh's job, one could say, in Egypt, as being the chosen and imprisoned one to have to hold God's position in front of everyone, while all those behind the throne both work upon the symbols placed upon that person and also govern the outer reality of the civilization. And the Pharaoh being of the one to be put into the tomb, but not necessarily being able to put his hands upon anything that constructs it. And that's a very interesting situation, but at the same time making his own Christmas list of what he would like to have in the afterlife. But he's living in the afterlife in the Pharaoh story in his time that he's alive, which is troublesome to say the least. If we have everything we want when we are alive, then what is there to have when we are dead? And vice versa. We're cautioned about regarding others as to where we're going, which is why it's easier and necessary to pull upon the past and to rework the weavings of the past rather than to say, I'm heading here. Because then everything tries to stop what it's doing, um, like an assembly line that's all working in its own pieces towards its own process and its own ends. But as soon as it's looked at as though the final product, well, none of the pieces can get there by themselves. And so this is a great challenge for humanity. And the weird thing about power, it has been described or reminded of the limits imposed on a career based upon the power, and resulting from having that power suddenly creates limitations. Whereas, for instance, society has it so that those that are naturally gifted and talented just find their way into a nook and cranny, and then somebody shows up and go as a talent search and plucks them out and makes them a star, or steals their stuff and kills them in the shadows, and then becomes their star, or places it upon another that's more agreeable. And this has been an issue throughout all time with in regards to divinity and sharing with humanity as well as holding it down as an individual. I'd like to clarify Saturn, which we're immediately given the fox spirit, the spirit fox, and reminded to trust our talents in changing times. And what is the talent? If everything is trying to be cunning, and everything knows there's a fox, and everything is trying to imitate the fox, then what's the talent if it's not hiding and it's not hunting? how does one govern a people in plain daylight? And that's through being guided from within by the moon. Always knowing that Spirit speaks to us, and wherever there's a dead end, new avenues are opened up to us through our intuition. We're given these as consorts to the moon, both the fox spirit and the night. The night is to be brave and honest. Very important for any ruler to, what's admitting anything if you're just so speaking the truth? Everything's on for a record. Spirit, please give us a single room to place with the moon to remind us of ways to balance this. Which is the symbol of this bent cross with this X. And this is reminding us that sometimes it takes time. We have to sit with the water and sit with the fire and sit with the kettle and allow the juices, the creative juices, and the situation to slowly give up its path to us, what it's creating, the recipe for feeding the multitude. Nauthiz is need, necessity, and pressure. Whatever we require, then that's what intuition is usually working upon. How to bring elements that don't normally go together. Like, for instance, how things that are spicy, when they're cooked, in most cases, they lose their spiciness. And so one can balance that with something that has a very subtle flavor that, by being processed in a specific manner, can bring out its aromatics, and then to reduce the qualities of overpowering elements. Very much looking forward to getting another 10 decks or so one of these days. To cover some other aspects I like added to my readings. But ultimately, if for the aspect and the reading and all of the cards itself, is the nice thing is the limitation is both a crutch at the same time as gives the energy somewhere to flow within the confines so it doesn't get too crazy. Which is what I believe is important with doing these readings with tea. We're in high regard today with the two leaders, the highest, most, and the most humble of the deities, both the Mon-Ra of creation, the higher self that is always in control over the pattern, and the pattern itself, which is Ma'at, were these two aspects. Continually are like Saturn and the stinger of Scorpio, or Saturn and the stinger of Scorpio, balancing off of one another, of the cosmic egg, the male and female principles of divine law. Each is clever like a fox, and each is noble like a knight, none overcoming another. And finding balance within creates balance around, and vice versa. Thank you, Spirit. I'd never had this card before until last night, and it came out inverted, but today it comes as the stem of our tree, where we have 3 piles of 3, and of these cards, we're given the 4th house as roots, as the 10th card, reminding us that we're the pinch point as the seed in our heart and mind, in our both intuition but also our intentions for the future. Plant that seed while we hold down all that leaves to return to nourish those roots and to water that seed that is coming into manifestation and wishing to bloom. All right, give us any 4 characteristics that we need to be aware of today. You're being guided with rabbit spirit. 3 cards. 1 separate, 2 together. Give us 1 more, please. Oh, we'll take the top one here. Huh. Alright. We're revealed that nature is naturally elegant. There's this, that's the beauty of it, and in trying to be elegant, one almost takes away from that. And that's the weird thing about having divine sight, is how all the things that are imperfect become very beautiful in their imperfection. And it is Scorpio and Virgo. Character is a habit long continued. Grace and style in manner or appearance, pleasing simplicity. Right. We're given valor inverted, which I find very beautiful in paired up with relevance. Where relevance is Aries and Aquarius, like an arrow that pierces the mind and the heart, but at the same time is left hanging midair to find its place and its mark, that doesn't strike any, and yet adds another brick to our invisible bridge to move forward together. All aglow is in the work. Traceable connection between action and meaning, purposeful effort. And valor inverted, where valor denotes something of facing the fire, and it's a very complex situation or idea, but it does have the notation of fighting. And sometimes valor is in maintaining a stoic position and representation. And so we're here giving it in reverse, but as it's spoken straightforward, rage against the dying of the light, resolve facing adversity, heroic strength of spirit, nerve, heart, and guts. But maintaining that all with centered balance is what we're given as the third card, balancing with relevance in the space that we're maintaining at this moment. And all these cards, well, for the fourth card, we're actually given 5 cards. So let's read them out here. Endurance. What was hard to bear is sweet to recall. The ability to withstand hardship or adversity, to sustain the lengthy effort. Equanimity. 2 wrongs don't make a right. Calmness and composure, sound judgment and presence of mind. To maintain the peace and to hold space for one another. Organization. A place for everything and everything in its place. But all things go together, like that tool shop wall where there's an outline for every single part, every tool. But each tool is useless without a job. But each tool was created for a specific job and then set apart and placed upon a wall. But whenever that tool is in use, in action, doing the job it was created to do, apart from the creators itself that made it, then looking upon the wall, it appears to be missing. But the one who's doing the work doesn't see it missing at all. It hits every time. Maintaining integrity. Bear witness to your own inclusion. State of being whole and undivided. Right relation between symbiotic parts. Exactly as I was guided to just describe. And we're left with something that we should always have when we're at the last of something. There should always be one more thing at the bottom of Pandora's box. It's hope. Wonders never cease. Future aspiration. Optimistic expectation. Wishful thinking. Well, give us a hexagram for a state of change to remind us something to be hopeful for today, in particular. Be it positive or negative. Remind us something to be hopeful and grateful for today. All right, to this card. Earth. From the source, creating success. The constancy of a mare bears fruit. A noble one has a direction to go. At first, confusion. Later, gains a master. Peaceful constancy brings good fortune. On the back of this card, it suggests to us partners with creative force in the flow of creation. When you have a mare's constancy, you'll be steadily loyal to the truth and action. The noble one has a direction in mind, but not the route planned out. At first, there are many possibilities, but once you begin, guidance and science can be received to light your way. How are you being guided? And how can you lend your strength? All right, 30 minutes. 2 divine feminine cards. Let's get 2 modifiers for each in tarot. Give Spirit something to chew on. Something extra. Okay, let's get 3. Just because of the way this came out. Because it seems the Spirit is as though it's folding, continuing upon the last read, and working on building something while evolving at the same time. Ha! Ha 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 ha! Alright. We have 2 Chinese princesses on the left and on the right. We have Kuan Yin. We got Miao Shan. I love how she has a rose around her head and a red butterfly on her hands. She's a red butterfly here and a rose around her head. And then like the Japanese maple leaves turning red here. And then over here, she's got the red apple in her hand with the many flowers in her hair. And then like the cherry blossoms, more so than like the maple with the white tiger. A peace to balance the knowledge. And the renewal here with the rose. This is the goddess of compassion and the princess of mercy. Very powerful Oriental aspects of reverence, solidarity, and holding space. And leaving judgment up to the divine to allow everything to settle into place. Here she has a butterfly in her hand. On this one, there's all these red butterflies flying up the side. I recognize suffering in order to release it. Curiosity breeds compassion. Giving is receiving. The energy of the universe is merciful. And coincidental or not, the 2 cards that came out in the middle is the other balance from Mesopotamia from yesterday. Both in Nana and in Hejuana. Seeing as such a powerful ground was just laid before us in perfect balance. Let's see, give us one more masculine card. We're guided by the masculine to both represent the healing medicine guardian. But he came out with an inversion. As the moon was guiding this in the fox earlier in the reading, and the knighthood, balancing the wild within, which was inverted as it came out. And so that's releasing the wild within, but knowing that it has structure upon it because it's already been tied to, and the promise has been made to the higher self to do all things for the benefit of all beings. And so all actions will come towards that fulfillment, even if they seem to be contrary in the moment. Just as sometimes one must make a sacrifice in order to move forward. But what is there to sacrifice if all we have is ourself and our knowledge and our physical body and our desire, but we don't know where to place it? We're trying to cross a river that we've come up against, but who knows if being trapped by the river and setting up camp won't cause the desire to arrive at our doorstep when we don't know exactly what it is. I did say a couple of tarot. Well, we got more than we bargained for there. In this reading with a couple cards from the tarot. We're given the Three of Hearts in reverse, reminded that the sacrifice has already been made, and our heart's already been deemed worthy and is already on the line, and then maybe patience is the way to go. Without more sacrifice, because there's already been enough. That's the purpose of history, to remind us of that. How all have died for this cause. What is this cause? That's for each to know, and each to also find out. We're beautifully finalized with trusting and believing that all things will work out to the benefit of all beings. With the 10 Pentacles, which is this 10 Pentacles, ironically. Has this bridge up here, revealing, but none are traveling on this bridge because the prosperity is down here underneath. But knowing that heaven and earth have already met and we're already on our way together. Very blessed.